Same-sex marriage is still legal nationwide, but Idaho just passed a proposal saying that they disagree and that the Supreme Court got it wrong. What Idaho says in their proposal is that they reject the Supreme Court's decision that legalized same-sex marriage across the country, and they're challenging that ruling and they seek to overturn it. This move didn't come out of nowhere. When the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in his opinion that the court should also examine and reconsider other opinions from the court that use the same legal reasoning. For example, the legal reasoning that included protections for same-sex activities in general, if you catch my drift, but also access to contraceptives. So for example, birth control and condoms. Because Justice Clarence Thomas opened that door, states like Idaho, for example, are saying absolutely we should go back and we should look at that legal reasoning, and we actually don't think it's lawful or constitutional for the federal government to tell us that we have to issue same-sex marriage licenses or that we have to recognize same-sex marriage. So what Idaho is doing is testing the Supreme Court's decision. Look, they're passing a proposal that they know is in direct contradiction to what the Supreme Court held, to Supreme Court precedent, and hoping that someone sues them. The case makes it up to the Supreme Court, and their final goal is that the Supreme Court overturns the decision that did legalize same-sex marriage nationwide. If that happens, we're back to the situation where your rights depend on what state you live in, this kind of patchwork framework where some states will allow same-sex marriage and some states won't. We've seen this before. These kind of states' rights arguments are the same arguments that were put forward to support segregation in the Jim Crow era. And I don't want you to panic. It's hard to make videos like this because I'm always trying to balance keeping you guys informed without scaring you, but I do think that gets more and more difficult as things progress. But just understand that I'm coming from a place of giving you information. Not every law makes it up to the Supreme Court. Not every single law grows legs, and we don't know if this proposal, which is not a law, it's a proposal, which I think most simply has the equivalent of a strongly worded letter. This might not make it up to the Supreme Court, but I do expect challenges to same-sex marriage and contraceptives and other things coming up. And again, like I've always said, the Supreme Court, I don't know what they would do in any of these situations. So should this thing grow legs, should this make it up to the Supreme Court, then I'll be here to let you know.